Coming up in part 2 of Pagan England, the final episode of this series, an ancient and mysterious ritual site, a massive burial chamber, Europe's tallest burial mound, the world's largest megalithic stone circle, a portal tomb, an ancient holy well that was believed to cure diseases, and a nice little English beach town. Alright, so I'm on my way up to a spot called Menantol, which is Cornish for hold stone. And I was really interested in this spot because I've never seen or heard of a stone circle like this before. So it's basically two pillars and a stone that someone 3,500 years ago carved a hole into. And it was thought to have many curing properties. So people with diseases, particularly children with rickets, would crawl through it 9 times at a particular point in the lunar cycle. So it having these kind of feminine properties, it was also believed to help with fertility. So women wanting to become pregnant would also pass through the circle 9 times, as would women wishing for an easy childbirth. And of course, farmers apparently would come here and pass through the circle 9 times at a particular point in the lunar cycle, hoping that their crops would become fertile and grow. So the last spot I was at, plus the St. Madron's well, are all just within a couple miles from here. And there are stone circles over there, and there are hilltops, tors, that all of these things are pretty much in a line with. So 3,000, 3,500 years ago, I would imagine these were meeting points for smaller communities tucked away in this countryside. People would probably gather here for various rituals, fertility rituals in this case, or the rituals of curing diseases. And this is probably just a meeting point where people met their neighbor from a couple miles away. They probably didn't see them every day because they're working on the land, and they got to meet them here. Powerful spot. This meant a lot to people. And it's just some stones in the middle of nowhere to us. But a lot of things happened here, and you can kind of tell, you can kind of feel the energy and the power some of these places have. Lanyon Coit, I held the stones there for a moment and kind of closed my eyes. And as soon as I did, a powerful gust of wind, a persistent one, lasted a good 45 seconds, was pushing me into the stones. And I could feel the stones just a real slight vibration. There are things that we don't understand that exist. I can tell you that much. Energies and powers that we don't fully understand and maybe never will. And maybe people were more in tune to them in the past because they didn't have so many distractions. I bet just like their sense of smell and taste was better than ours because we're breathing in crappy air most of the time, or we're drinking, water with chemicals in it. I wouldn't be surprised if they were more in tune to certain energies and powers than we are today, simply due to the fact that they didn't have any distractions whatsoever other than their spirituality and survival. So I just came across this old abandoned farmhouse that looks really cool. It's all overgrown, it looks like, with ivy. And there's a gate, but it's abandoned. Let's go check it out. staircase, probably the kitchen. Fireplace, and even the door. Really cool, but also kind of creepy. I like it. Lanyan Quoit. So this predates the pyramids in Egypt and metal tools. That top slate there is 9 by 17 and weighs over 13 tons. This goes back about 3,500 years, and it was thought to be a place of ritual ceremony. They dispute what it was used for, nobody truly knows, but some believe that corpses, in terms of maybe sacrifice or maybe just a burial ceremony, were left on the top here as an offering to the sun and for the birds to eat, much like many of the others. It's believed to be in line with these cairns over here, which I don't know if you can see in the background, those hills. Usually those types of tors that emerge from the ground were sacred sites for peoples many years ago from around here. There used to be 4 stones, but in the year 1815, a massive thunderstorm cracked one of them and they had to restore it. So now there's only 3 stones holding it up. And that's pretty much all we know. Not a very popular one, which I don't know why. This, before more grass and dirt developed around it, they say it was 9 foot tall, tall enough for a man on a horse to ride under. So very tall. I have no idea how people would have gotten a 13-ton stone that high 3,500 years ago. Horsepower, rope, I have no idea. Beautiful site in the middle of nowhere. Nobody's here. Nobody seems to care. And that's just the way I like it. Okay, so I'm on my way to another holy well. This one's called St. Madron's Holy Well. And they believe that name came from a pagan Celtic goddess, Madrone, who has been spoken of in Arthurian legends. And she was a mother goddess. She was referred to as the mother. And she was a goddess of fertility. So this well was used both by pagans and then Christians. And as with many things, Christians adopted names and rituals and places of interest from pagans. And this place is considered to have medicinal properties. So the crippled or the ill would come here, and they would enter the well 3 times naked and then walk around the well clockwise 3 times and then go sit on a hillside nearby called Madron's Bed. But they would also, from the clothes they remove from themselves, this is a clootie well, so remember that means that people tie bits of cloth and rag to the site or to trees around it and bushes. So they thought that when they tore their clothes and tied it to a place near the well, that whenever the clothes deteriorated, keeping in mind they were made from natural fibers back then, whenever those rags or those pieces of cloth deteriorated, so would their disease. So I don't know how far back here it is, but It's a nice, beautiful area. Nobody is out here whatsoever. Super quiet. Lots of nettles and blackthorn and hawthorn. Things to watch out for so they don't get all scraped up. I don't have any diseases as far as I know, but maybe this well can cure me from some of the plagues we've all got mentally from living in a world we live in today. I just saw this downed tree that looks really cool. This looks like a place for hobbits and goblins more than anything. Oh, there it is right there. Thick mud. Oh, shit. Whoop, that was slippery. Got cat-like reflexes and the speed of a mongoose, though. Feels like there should be some ferries back here. Okay, so this is it. My friend Clint told me about this. St. Madron's Well. You can see there's a little rock formation around it, but it looks like it's just water that comes up out of the ground. It's not really like a stream that comes out of the side of the mountain or anything. You can see it runs down there, and it's left this whole area into almost a marshy bog. Wouldn't be surprised if there's some bog people buried out here. Just imagine, you know, 2,000-3,000 years ago, you get some terrible disease, you have no idea what it is, and there's no cure for it. All you have is hope and superstition. You break your arm or leg, or you get sick from something, and the locals just tell you to get in there naked 3 times, and then walk around it naked 3 times, and then just go sit on a hill and tie some of your clothing to it, and then you'll be cured. Madness. So not only was it a source of life, was in terms of fresh water, but also a place for hope, a literal wishing well. Now, I haven't taken any mushrooms or anything today, but I keep seeing things moving around here. Just, I catch a glimpse of something, and by the time I look over, it's gone. It doesn't feel unwelcoming or anything, but and it's probably nothing, but it's very strange to say the least. I'm sure there are some spirits here. I mean, if people have been coming here for thousands of years, I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know if you believe in that stuff. Do you believe in ghosts and spirits? Let me know down in the comments if you do. I do, because I've seen them and I've experienced them, but not really like what you see on TV, like sci-fi, just a presence of some sort. Maybe a visual, but also a presence. Anyhow, I'm gonna get out of here and move on to a couple other sites before wrapping it up and calling it a day. You know, so I don't have any diseases, but unfortunately my beautiful wife suffers from 2 autoimmune diseases. She's a trooper. She does really good with her diet and all the things she needs to be doing. I don't have any of her clothing with me, but I kind of wish I did. Would have tied it to a tree there. But just sat there and thought about her for a minute. I mean, I think about her all the time. I think about you all the time, babe. I love you and I miss you. But I'll see you in a couple days. But yeah, I just thought about her struggles and her life and the pain she's in and the restrictions she has. But at the same time, I know a lot of people are against modern medicine, but look guys, There's medicine that is keeping people alive and living better, longer lives. For example, if she didn't have the medicine that she takes, she would become crippled and go through a slow, painful, horrendous death. Very slow and horrible. So you have to be grateful for the modern medicines that we have. Can't deny the fact that there is tremendous benefit to living in the age that we live in today. Thank you. Get out of here. Get. Come on. Get out of here. Get out of here. This bastard. You cheeky bastard. Get out of here. They don't care. My macros may not be good on vacation, but I certainly make sure that I move a lot. Lift weights, walk a lot, hike a lot. I recommend you do that when you're on vacation. Enjoy yourself, worry about your diet when you get home, but make sure you keep moving. You don't want to just lay on a beach and drink and eat all day. You want to get up and move and have an active vacation. That's how you do it. All right, I think I'm done with this. I ate more than half of it. Probably got it on my face. Definitely got it on my shoes and socks. You know those clothes that you wear at home? They're not your pajamas and they're not your like work clothes or your street clothes. They're just kind of like leisure wear or soft clothes. Well, my wife calls mine my food clothes because I've got food all down the chest. Look at that. Got it all over my hands here. What a messy snack. Fortunately, I've got some water here to wash off with. Ice cream all over my shoes, all over my hands, all over the camera. Messy guy. Now my feet are wet. Well, now my feet are wet too. Damn it. All right, that'll do me for St. Ives. Really nice little town. But when I travel places, I really prefer to get out into nature and see what that's all about. All right, just got to my hotel called the Old Count House, and it's definitely got a creepy ghost vibe to it. But I'm gonna go get some work done and relax and rest before tomorrow. That's definitely a ghost. One of the many benefits about working online is that I don't miss out on valuable opportunities, I don't lose money, and I can constantly work just as long as I have Wi-Fi. So I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna work for an hour or two and probably watch a movie, chill out, go to bed early, and I'll see you in the morning once we get into some pristine nature. Okay, so we are in Amesbury, or West Kennet technically. in Wiltshire County, England, which is a county in the southwest. It's actually known for being a ceremonial county, and it's because it has a lot of stuff like that. We're gonna walk over there in a moment. That's Silbury Hill, which is the tallest Neolithic site in Europe. But right now, we're walking up to the West Kennet Long Barrow, which is likely a burial site. Nobody really knows exactly what purpose it served. When they did excavations, they found ceremonial burials that dated back to about 3,600 BC. So very, very old place. This place is actually considered by modern pagans to be a sacred site. And as kind of a religion, they are working with local governments to protect it, but also put some of the remains back into the burial site. A lot of pagans come here for their own personal ceremonies and rituals, mostly around May Day and summer solstice and winter solstice. I came up here early this morning to beat the crowds, and we'll see what we find in there. Apparently it's really spooky and creepy to crawl back in there, but we're gonna crawl back there and see what we can find. Regardless, I'd imagine the people buried in places like these were people that had some sort of power, maybe a druid, a shaman, a shaman of some sorts, maybe just a tribal leader, a local king and queen, who knows? But obviously they're very important for people around here. So we're gonna go pay our respects and give a little offering. I like to give a little offering to places like these. What's also interesting about this place is that the stones they use to make it aren't from here. They're from the Cotswolds, which is another county. For some reason, they chose those stones, mostly limestone, to bring here and build this burial chamber. Why? Who knows? But it was obviously very important for them to get those stones here. All right, here we go. It's the top of it there. It is long. Okay, so I'm at the entry point, and I gotta say, this thing being like 50 yards long, it's got a vibe to it. It's definitely a little eerie. It's gonna be super dark back there. At the entrance here, we have this massive stone that's about 12 foot tall. For some reason, this was brought here from somewhere else. They didn't just find it right here in the field and prop it up. They transported this from somewhere very far away. All right. So apparently when they did their excavations at this site, each little chamber here, one being here, one there, there are actually 4 before what appears to be the main chamber, the 5th one back there. There were either skulls or legs and femurs, body parts. So nobody really knows exactly what went on here and why they built it, but I would imagine that it maybe had something to do with lineage. If you came from a powerful family such as a warrior tribe, you could come and hold the skull of your great-great-grandfather, and that lineage would have meant a lot to you. You can see some of these stones as like a smaller stone circle around this main, I'm imagining what's the main burial site. Some more offerings. Just imagine the ceremonies that went on here 4,000 or 5,000 years ago, maybe even 6,000 years ago. One, it probably took forever to build this, but 2, to build this for particular people that were of high importance. I want to know who those people were and why they were so important. What did they accomplish for their people? What they do know is that it was built around the year 3650 BC by a farming community, and that farming community had only been in Britain for a couple generations after coming here from Europe. Now I'm in the main burial chamber right now, and when they excavated it, they found the remains of 4 male adults and the skull of 1 child. And right next to it in this smaller burial chamber, they found the remains of 3 female adults, 1 male adult, and again the skull of a small child. And over here in this small burial chamber, they found the remains of 6 female adults, 5 male adults, and 2 teenagers. And here, very near to the entrance in this small chamber, they found the remains of 1 female adult, 1 male adult, and 5 children. And over here, they found the remains of 2 female adults, 1 male adult, and a newborn's skull. Now the remains of people were placed here for a few generations, and then this site was not used for about 50 years. Then the following 1,000 years, 1,000 years, people came and used these burial chambers as some sort of ritualistic ceremonial site where they would come and fill the chamber up with dirt and ash and charcoal and fragments of human bone, animal bone, pottery, even carved bones. So it's apparent that this place was very important for people for over 1,000 years, and then completely forgotten until it was excavated not too long ago. Hey buddy, got a lot of flies on your face. Friendly? Ooh, don't worry, I'm not gonna hurt you. It's okay. Hey, come here. Just want to get those flies off your head. Come on. Hi. Hi. There you go. Don't worry. Don't you worry. All right, we are at Silbury Hill, which is really close to the West Kennet Long Barrow that we just came from. It's also about 5,500 years old, and it is 39.3 meters tall, or 129 feet. So in terms of volume, it's pretty much the same size as contemporary pyramids in Egypt. Now it's comprised mostly of chalk, and it's another area where dowsing took place, so whoever built this probably found a water source underneath it. The folklore and legend is that a king named Sil turned into a gold statue on his horse and is buried at the bottom of it, that the mound was created around him. Factually, that's not true, that's the folklore. But we can probably speculate it was a meeting point, a point of ritual. Maybe people wanted to do things higher, closer to the sky or gods or to the sun. Who really knows? You're not supposed to walk up it, although it looks like people clearly have been. But I'm gonna respect that and walk around it. There are people who speculate that this was built to raise certain individuals higher than anyone else so that they can be seen from miles around, higher than any other monument, in fact, in Europe. And that may indicate some sort of elite group that just held themselves to a higher power. Maybe they were the rulers of the land. Needless to say, it's just a mound. It doesn't seem that interesting. It just looks like a big hill. But the fact that humans made that out of chalk and rubble for a long time, as big as it is, it's just interesting to wonder why people were doing these things 5,500 years ago. What significance did it have? They weren't just bored. They had a lot of work to do on their farms and just basic survival. You also have to question, did that many people live here to build the burial chamber not too far away, or this thing? Or did they import people? Did they pay them wine and bread and board? Or did they have slaves they made build this thing? Kind of like maybe in the pyramids, who knows? Interesting stuff. Just a hill in the middle of nowhere next to some barren farmland and next to a road, as you can probably hear. Why? Why did you make this? What for? Maybe it means nothing. Maybe we're overthinking it. I don't know. Okay, we're gonna go on to the next site. There are a couple others around here, and then I am going to the airport to fly home and wrap up my trip to England to visit these sites and friends and family. I hope you've enjoyed this so far. Let me know down in the comments what you think of this place in the burial chamber so far. Would you come see this? If you just saw it on the side of the road, you wouldn't think anything of it. But if you stop and read about it, it gets the mind going. The burial chamber especially. That is an amazing place. What do you think about that burial chamber? Would you go sleep in it? I actually regret the fact that I didn't create enough time to go and sleep in that burial chamber, because I'm gonna do that someday. And I'm leaving in the morning, so I can't do it because I'm a few hours away from the airport still. However, if you came across that burial chamber, would you sleep in it? Let me know down in the comments. All right, so we are in Amesbury, which is a megalithic site. So megalithic meaning these are some of the biggest stones ever used for any ritualistic ceremonial site in the world. Now, Amesbury was comprised of one stone circle, and over the course of several hundred years, about 300 years, they made a second one around that stone circle, and then finally a third one. So there's 3 stone circles here. And it was effectively abandoned by the Iron Age. However, there is some evidence of some activity here from the Roman era in Britain. Now, during the Middle Ages, this small village started to formulate on the outskirts of the stone circles, and then eventually just kind of merged its way into the middle of the stone circle. So there's a very old medieval village here that is in the middle of all 3 of these stone circles. But these stones are massive. I mean, I would put that at about 15, 17 feet high. Who knows how the hell they got all these massive stones here from apparently a rock valley that way. Probably thousands of slaves, I would imagine, unless it was just a massive cult of pagans that really believed in what they were doing and came together to do this. But it would have taken a lot of manpower. Now, this place has a lot of tourists. You can hear tractors going through. It's quite loud, so it's hard to get into a peaceful state of mind here, but it's really, really cool. It's awesome to see these massive stones, and just imagine how people moved these stones from miles and miles away from over there. Fascinating. So let's go walk around and explore a little bit more, see what else we can find here, and have a little bit of lunch in a medieval pub in the middle of a stone circle. So this is definitely the biggest site that I've ever been to. I mean, I think I'm on the third outer stone circle now, and I've been walking around for a good 20 minutes. And I don't walk slow, and I've got long legs. So, massive area. And there's the little village right in the middle. I wonder why they wanted to expand it like this. I've never seen one that has a circle in the middle and then two around it. Maybe they just wanted to create a bigger point of power. Who knows? Maybe I'm overthinking it. I have no idea. So how do you think they got big megalithic stones to sites like these? Let me know down in the comments. You know, considering the sheer size of these stones and the length and width of the walkway that led to the circle here, or to the circles, and then just how big the stone circles are themselves and all the massive stones in them, it's probably safe to assume that hundreds, if not thousands of people gathered here, making offerings to gods and spirits, hoping for their crops to grow, probably around summer and winter solstice. Now, when I talk about places that have energy, I'm not talking about crystals and things like that. Those actually have bad juju. They're kind of like blood diamonds. Slave children in Brazil and Africa, for example, have to mine those crystals. When you have a place like this where probably hundreds, or if not thousands of people gathered for something that was incredibly important to them, to bring all these massive stones here, I believe that they left some energy here. And the reason they did it in this particular site is a powerful one that we don't understand. So this is the walkway to the stone circles themselves. And it stretches for at least a mile. Just look how wide this pathway is and how big these stones are. Some of these are 10, 12 foot tall. Just imagine, if you will, hundreds of people walking up this hill towards three massive stone circles at nighttime, maybe at dusk, with torches, drums playing, maybe singing or humming a hymn, preparing themselves for ritual. Just gathering and marching this lane here. The only thing you know and own are from the elements of nature, and it's just you and your people walking towards ritual. Just you and your tribal community are about to go experience something very important and close to you. Nobody else needs to understand it. As far as you know, 6,000 years ago, nobody else really exists. So that about wraps it up for my Neolithic and megalithic stone tour in England. I hope you enjoyed it. This is just an interest of mine outside of health and fitness. Anyhow, if you haven't already, remember to subscribe to the channel, like this video, leave comments down below, and I will see you in the next episode, which will be a major plot twist when we take you to Louisiana to meet up with Skeeter, the godfather of the Bayou himself, who invites us to the backwoods of southern Louisiana to meet up with his friends, who just happen to be some of the most welcoming people and the best cooks I've ever met. They share with us their family traditions and Cajun country cooking. Stay tuned for the next episode. Until then, take it easy.